Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something really exciting. We are decoding exactly why the Spanish national team is walking into the 2026 World Cup as the undisputed statistical favorite to take home the trophy. We're going to look at some incredible data models and break down the absolute tactical perfection of their current squad. But we're also doing something else. We're uncovering a very specific 3-second formula that top analysts believe could completely destroy them. It's this fascinating mix of absolute dominance and a glaring, almost shocking vulnerability, and we've got the data to back the whole thing up.
Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at why they are the favorites to win it all. Then, we'll break down their tactical blueprint, followed by a look at Spain's incredible golden generation. After that, we're diving into that 3-second death trap I mentioned, and finally, we'll wrap it up with the ultimate verdict.
All right, Section 1, favorites to win it all. To really get the hype around Spain right now, we first have to look at the hard data. We're not talking about gut feelings or expert opinions here. We're talking about undeniable predictive mathematics.
Just take a look at the sheer gap at the top of these probabilities. This data comes straight from a predictive model run by Goldman Sachs. Now, they didn't just guess. They analyzed over 20,000 matches dating all the way back to 1978. And they use LO ratings, which basically strips away human bias and looks at actual scoring ability, recent trends, and opponent strength, rather than just the standard FIFA rankings. And the result? The model spits out a 26% win probability for Spain. That is absolutely massive. To put that into perspective, they're sitting comfortably ahead of a hyper-talented France at 19% and the defending world champions Argentina at 14%. The algorithms literally love Spain.
And this right here, 31, this is exactly why the algorithms love them. That's the number of competitive matches Spain has played without suffering a single defeat in regular time. That streak stretches all the way back to March of 2023. And during this run, they haven't just been squeaking by. They've been completely conquering teams, winning the UEFA Nations League, and just totally dominating Euro 2024. Simply put, they are the most complete, in-form international team on the planet right now.
But look, Spain didn't just wake up one day and get here by accident. They got here through a lot of pain. They had 3 consecutive World Cup failures that basically forced them to evolve. In 2014, their legendary golden generation aged out, and they suffered a really shocking group stage exit. Then in 2018, it was just total chaos. Their head coach was fired literally 2 days before the tournament started. And then 2022, the dreaded possession trap. Against Morocco, Spain held the ball for a staggering 76% of the game. They just passed and passed endlessly, but registered exactly 1 shot on target before getting knocked out. Yikes. It was a massive wake-up call. They finally realized that just keeping the ball wasn't enough. They had to fix their system.
Which brings us to Section 2, the tactical blueprint. To fix that sterile, boring possession style from 2022, manager Luis de la Fuente brought in a setup that is much more aggressive, direct, and honestly, structurally terrifying.
Watch how this transformation happens on the pitch. De La Fuente starts his guys in a traditional 1-4-3-3 formation, but the second they get possession, they completely shapeshift. The fullbacks push incredibly high and wide, which totally stretches the opponent's defense. This gives Spain's wingers the freedom to tuck inside. And suddenly, as if out of nowhere, Spain is operating in a wild 1-2-3-5 formation. They overload the center of the pitch with up to 8 players. This brilliantly shortens the distance of their passes, completely suffocating the opponent and creating instant numerical advantages so they can trigger a counterpress the second they lose the ball. And the anchor holding this entire brilliant blueprint together? It's Rodri. He's not just a defensive midfielder, he is the absolute tempo setter. Domestically, he averages a crazy 97 passes per 90 minutes. But critically, he recovers possession 6.3 times a game. If opposing teams sit back, Rodri expertly drives the ball right into the attackers. If teams try to counter, his anticipation is so unmatched that he breaks up the play before it even gets going. He's basically the general managing all the chaos with near-perfect precision.
Moving on to Section 3, Spain's golden generation. So we've got the data, we've got the tactics. Now let's look at the actual talent executing all of this. Because Spain has quietly built up a new golden generation that perfectly blends established superstars with some truly breathtaking youth. 344. You guys, that is the staggering number of Spanish players currently operating across Europe's top 5 leagues right now.
Just to give you some context on how insane that depth is, France is in second place with only 72. Because of this massive, overflowing talent pipeline, Luis de la Fuente literally has to leave world-class players sitting at home. We're talking guys who start for top clubs in the Premier League and La Liga, who would effortlessly walk into the starting lineups of almost any other nation on earth.
But even within that massive talent pool, there's a really distinct imbalance. On one hand, Spain has an absolute abundance of world-class midfielders like Pedri and Gavi, plus these explosive elite wingers like Nico Williams and the teenage phenom Lamine Yamal. Actually, think about how crazy this is. Yamal was famously doing his high school homework in his hotel room while simultaneously tearing apart Europe's best defenders at Euro 2024. It's wild. That's the kind of individual magic they completely lacked in 2022. But on the flip side, they have a glaring scarcity at the striker position. They just do not have a lethal, traditional fox-in-the-box number 9. Honestly, they haven't had one since the days of David Villa. So all this beautiful build-up play, it absolutely relies on those wingers and midfielders to finish the job.
Now, here's where things get interesting. All this brilliant technical ability, it comes with a distinct physical vulnerability. Analysts point out that Spain's core, guys like Pedri, Gavi, and Yamal, are highly technical, sure, but they're relatively small-framed. They're built for comfort on the ball, not for grueling physical combat. And context really matters here. The 2026 World Cup in North America is going to feature some brutal summer heat. We're talking kickoffs regularly hovering above 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and you have to combine that with heavy, exhausting continental travel across multiple time zones. If Spain gets physically worn down by this punishing environment, their flawless technical game could absolutely start to crack.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, the 3-second death trap. Because look, if the heat doesn't get them, the tactics just might. Analysts have identified a literal self-destruct button hidden right inside Spain's aggressive setup.
It's called the 40-meter gap. Remember how we said Spain wants to squeeze the pitch and keep all their players close together? Well, to do that, their defensive line pushes incredibly high up the field, sometimes almost to the halfway line. Now, this is super brave, and it absolutely helps them counterpress. But it leaves a massive 40-meter void of totally empty space between their central defenders and their goalkeeper. And as brilliant as Rodri is, there is no way one single defensive midfielder can cover 40 meters of open grass all by himself.
So how do you exploit this? It all comes down to the 3-second rule. It works like this. Step 1, you deliberately invite the pressure. Just let Spain have the ball and build that crazy 1-2-3-5 shape. Step 2, you stay in a tight, compact defensive block and you win the ball back. And step 3, this is the kill shot. The exact millisecond you win that ball, you have exactly 3 seconds to play a direct vertical pass over the top and into that 40-meter gap. If you wait 4 seconds, it's too late. Rodri recovers, the defensive line drops, and the trap slams shut. You have to strike in 3 seconds flat.
And when we look at the projected knockout stages, there are 3 very specific teams equipped with the exact DNA to execute this trap. First up, Uruguay. Under Marcelo Bielsa, they play a violent physical press, and if they win the ball, they have Darwin Núñez, a guy who can effortlessly sprint into that space in under 3 seconds. Next is Portugal. You've got Bruno Fernandes, who can ping that vertical pass instantly to Rafael Leao, who has unmatched acceleration on the wing. And finally, Colombia. They are riding a massive unbeaten streak of their own, and they use these relentless flank attacks, sending Luis Diaz right at Spain's right back. Make no mistake, these are severe, highly realistic mismatch scenarios just waiting in the wings.
All right, let's bring it all home with Section 5, the ultimate verdict. We've seen the overwhelming statistical dominance, and we've seen the exact blueprint someone would need to dismantle it.
I want you to really think about this quote from one of our sources. You cannot beat Spain at chess. They invented the game. You have to drag them into a street fight. It's so true, right? If an opposing team tries to outpass or outpossess Luis de la Fuente's beautifully structured machine, they are going to lose, 100%. The only way to survive is to abandon possession entirely, absorb the pressure, and rely on pure, unadulterated vertical aggression.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Will Spain's flawless, battle-tested machine conquer the globe once again, proving all those data models absolutely right? Or will the grueling North American heat, combined with that terrifying 40-meter gap, cause them to self-destruct when the pressure is at its absolute highest? It's honestly the most fascinating storyline heading into 2026. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep a close eye on that high line, and I'll see you next time.